Hello, boys and girls. It's your boy, King Jiffy Coats, and today we're going to be reading stories like we always do here on HauntedRouter. It's your boy, Ben and Jeff. We're about to have fun like always. I hope you guys are buckling up. We're reading somebody new to the subreddit. They posted a few different stories. This is the most palatable, smaller one. They have one on the sub that's like a multi-parter that isn't finished yet. So we're kind of waiting for them to finish that, and then we're going to jump into the fusion stories they're writing. This one's called Dreamcatcher, which I wanted to read just because, one, it has a really cool picture. That's pretty neat. I'll put it up on screen, but I like that the mom and dad, the little kid, stick figure, and then just this long, like, grotesque thing in the background. And also, I love the Stephen King book, Dreamcatcher. Duddits is my boy. All sorts of poop weasels, poop weasels, and all sorts of other fun stuff. Ben coined the term poop weasel. I like that. It makes me warm and fuzzy inside. It makes me want to have a colonoscopy. But
I think they say shit weasel in the movie. I can't remember. Maybe that's just what it might just be what me and my friend called them back in the day. But I think they might have called them the shit weasel. I'm not sure.
I mean, maybe
the big alien thing that crawls out of the guy's butt. You know,
yeah.
we're like just bleeding our audience.
Yeah.
Like right here at the
They're
beginning.
gone, dude. They're gone. As soon as we said shit weasel,
they
were cooked. Yeah. They were cooked.
That's not what we're reading. We don't think.
Dude, that's such a long book.
Something else.
Everything Stephen King would just be like that would be like a cajillion hour episode, and we would get copyright striked immediately upon posting it. But this
I don't know, man. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say this is by Sufficient Gur 3232. Also, their name on their Reddit is Fabula with a bunch of underscores, so they are seem pretty awesome. They're fabulous. That was a bad joke. Nice.
No, this was cross-posted to our subreddit?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay, because it's coming over from Tales from the Creeps.
Yeah, so they had posted
they're spreading the love around. Cool.
Yeah, they did a cross-post. They cross-posted it.
We got to it first, so we eat shit, Wendigoon.
Yeah, right. Dude, Wendigoon can suck on my Wenda dick.
I'm going to apologize and say we're joking. We love you all. All right. I wanted to make this post to talk about my childhood and a secret my parents had been hiding from me for years. A secret which has been slowly stealing from me, and that has left me afraid for my future. I'm not scared for my life, but I am scared that my life's purpose has been stolen from me. Being an only child, my parents have essentially had to figure out parenting with me as I've grown up. No older siblings for them to have a test run with. And one of these things they think they've had down for years is my bedtime. 9:30 p.m. on the dot, no more. I'm expected to be trying to get to sleep by 9:20 p.m. and getting ready for bed before then. I've been used to it for years at this point, and to their credit, it's definitely kept me in a secure sleep schedule my entire life. I've never been a dreamer, awake or asleep, so my main frustration of going to bed was that it was cutting off my ability to think and experience things. I've always been a heavy sleeper though, so even if I was begrudgingly crawling into my bed on any night, within a few minutes I was fast asleep. During my teen years, my bedtime led to a lot of spats between me and my parents, but ultimately they would win. My mom and dad crying always made me feel horrible, and so I'd refrain from disobeying them, not upset them. They said they'd sacrificed a lot for me, and I believed them. So we went to bed at 9:30.
That's late well, it depends on the
for like a 17-year-old.
That's early, right?
That's like biologically incorrect. Your soul's going to be like up beating the windows out of the wall at like 2 in the morning to get out of the house.
So I had like a really early bedtime like this going through high school and stuff. Mine was like 8 or something. And then like if I was hanging out with my friends on weekend, I had to be home at 10. Yeah, that was just normal for me. But like I thought for when we first started this, I was picturing like a little kid, and I was like, bro, 9:30 as a child? I'm like, that's crazy. I was like,
that's pretty late, actually.
Yeah, that's really late for a child. I would be like 7 or 8. Like we started putting my daughter to bed at 7. Like we started that tonight because it was like, dude, she's just gonna wiggle squiggle for as long as we let her until we put her in the bedroom. So let's.
We're not still hearing her in the background.
Yeah, that's her.
Okay, I was about to say so it's not 7.
She well, it's 7 here.
No, wait, really?
Yeah, it's 7:40.
I never knew we had a time difference.
Yeah, we have a time difference.
What deep lore?
What time is it there? 6:40?
7:40.
Yeah, it's 7:40. I put her to bed. We put her to bed 40 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like to go to sleep go to bed.
Oh, well,
I still hear her
I
screaming
can't
in
like.
there.
Well, what am I supposed to do? Chloroform my daughter, Ben? Just okay, it's sleep time, but drop her.
I forget it's your kid, so it's gonna be like,
yeah, so
she's
she's
like,
gonna
no!
she's
Like,
gonna say
freaking out.
no for as long as possible, and then she's gonna give up and go to sleep. That's
She's
like,
gonna be back in the chair in like 5 minutes. Watch people.
yeah, dude. We literally put like music and stuff on, and we play like a bedtime Miss Rachel thing, so that it'll like calms her down, and then she falls asleep. So it's like
I
a
probably
process.
watched the same one.
It's like an hour-long process for her to fall asleep. So you'll hear her crying in the background until she stops. It's not like
that.
it's not like real like it's not like we're like cry let him cry it out type thing. She just whines. That's her whine, is a cry noise. Ben knows this because he's heard her walk up to my chair and just screech at me. Like I've offended her humanity or some shit. But yeah, no.
I just screech back.
Yeah, Ben just yells at her back. He says the worst things, dude. It's all racial slurs. It's crazy.
I do. I'm a totally different person when there's a baby to yell at. Okay, back to the story. My personal loophole for staying up late was to sleep over at friends' houses when I could during the weekend. The desire to stay up past what I was allotted kept me sociable and eager to hang out if it meant I could spend a few more hours in the night. It's a weird fucking reason, but my parents would also be happy to get me out of the house. Not in a malicious way. I think they were just glad I was extroverted as I was.
They wanted to fuck. That's why the parents didn't care.
That was what it was.
They wanted
that's why they
to
put him to bed so early.
Yeah, dude. They wanted to slap genitalia together.
They wanted to fuck all over the house.
Yes, dude. Who doesn't want to break in different parts of the house while the kids are sleeping? Obviously, dude. You're like, I haven't done another kitchen floor yet. Well, look, it's bedtime. Your child's looking at you. It's like, it's 3 in the afternoon. Shut the fuck up. I have to have sex.
Well, now they're like, go over to your friend's house. Get.
Yeah.
We're gonna smoke weed. My parents. Okay. Anyway, I think they were just glad. Oh, as extroverted as I was, and every sleepover I had was another night without potential for frustration over my bedtime. When I was at uni, I was no stranger to the later hours of the night. Wait a second. Actually, let me pause real quick, because we're just going to keep doing this. Did you stay up late whenever you went to stay over at friends' houses?
Yeah.
I never went to sleep.
I would. I mean,
I was just like, it would be rare. If I went to sleep, it was for like an hour, and it was like at dawn.
Dude,
but when I was at my friends' houses, dude, they had game systems and like all the DVDs and shit like that. Dude, they'd be conked out, and I'd just be like popping another movie.
Yeah,
like just laying there watching it, drinking sodas.
I'd do that, but I'd always fall asleep when I pop in another movie. I'd just crash out.
Oh.
My buddy, like, we would hang out at my buddy's basement a lot, and they had the most comfortable couch, like, the history of couches. And so I would end up getting the long middle couch. My buddy would sleep in the recliner.
Oh, that's nice.
And then, or he would go out, fall asleep in the recliner, or he'd go up to his room. And then my other buddy would fall asleep in the other chair that had, like, one of those ottomans. So, literally, I'd just get the couch to myself, and I'd just pass out on that thing. It was, like, one of those, like, older leather couches that, you know what I'm talking about, the nicer,
yeah.
like, they've been around since probably the 80s, but they're just super comfortable for some reason.
Well, they've been tenderized through, like, 10 million farts.
Yeah, exactly, dude, and I would pass out on that couch. It was so comfortable, dude. It would just, like, instantly put me to sleep.
Yeah.
I'd be like...
Dude, I know exactly what you're talking about, though.
Dude, we'd be into, like, Ram 3, bro, and I'd be dead. I'd be dead. Like, I don't care how funny it looks that this Russian guy's, like, exploring Stallone's prostate. I need to sleep.
That's a different one. When I was at uni, I was no stranger to the later hours of the night and the early hours of the day. My parents' enforcing of those habits have made me a fiend for the night, and so any chance I got to pull an all-nighter to square away heaps of studying over a single night, or got invited out by my friends to drink the night away, I took it. Of course, this behavior isn't unique to me, and I still made sure to spend most of my nights getting the rest I needed. At uni, I also began to have dreams every night, and I felt much more in control of my life. I still had no idea what I wanted to do after uni, but ideas would begin to form in my head now and again. All I knew is that I just wanted to meet someone nice and settle down with plenty of money. Not necessarily how I would...
He's probably
That's
getting
such a unique dream, man.
To
fall in love and be rich.
I am kind of reading this as a girl, maybe, or I still haven't figured out the sex of who's writing or who the story's about. But I do want to say that they have this idea to make a lot of money, like everybody in college. But probably like everybody in college, they're getting a degree in like jizz sniffing 5000. It's like, how
Right.
much cum can I snort into my lungs really quick? That's my new degree. Gender studies, this cum into my nose really fast.
Genital studies.
Genital studies, as long as I get to snort it. You know what I mean? That's, and then they get into the real world and they're like, what can I do? Well, I guess I'm going to teach cum sniffing at a university.
Well, I'm glad I dropped out early then.
Yeah, that's my thoughts.
So I didn't cross over. Alright, so this person wants to meet someone nice, settle down with plenty of money. Not necessarily how I would get that money, or even if I'd be happy going down the route I was on. In my first year of uni, I visited my parents back home for a weekend, and over that weekend I witnessed things that have turned my life completely upside down, and ruined their lives completely. It's the reason I'm writing this down, and so I can try and figure out what's been happening to us all this time. I've never had any proper bad blood with my parents, so seeing them open the door with a big smile on their faces made me feel incredibly happy. I said hello, gave them both a big hug, and walked inside, closing the door behind me.
Am I sleeping in my own room?
I asked as politely as possible, not wanting to seem like I'm trying to leave the room immediately after saying hi.
That's the plan,
Dad joked.
unless you wanna take the dog bed.
He let out a big chuckle and slapped my shoulder lightly.
Alright, stupid question, get stupid answers. Answers.
I laughed and gave him another big hug. Gave him another hug, she doesn't specify, before taking my small suitcase up to my room. I unpacked my things and sat down on my bed for a bit, thinking about work I needed to get done. But that could come later. I was supposed to be resting this weekend anyway. That's the promise I made to myself, and I wanted to spend time with my parents. It was already the evening, so after dinner I could square away my work and spend the entire day with them tomorrow. Dinner that evening was my dad's signature carbonara, whatever. I ate quickly to save time for conversation. We talked about uni, what I was studying, the people I was meeting, the comfort of my accommodation, and of course, my sleep schedule. My parents savored every detail, and in return I asked them as much as I could about their work and hobbies, and their current season of that celebrity dancing show my mom has on every winter. As the conversation wound down and the laughter got quieter, I asked my mom a question.
Hey, Mum.
As I began to speak, my mum swallowed her mouthful of spaghetti and laid down her utensils. It makes it sound like she didn't chew there, Mom, and she had just taken and she goes,
Yeah,
yes.
You just sucked.
Well, see,
Dude, well,
because she's
that's...
not in the house. The daughter's not in the house anymore.
Yeah, dude. Well, that's why she went to bed at 9:30. She's been years of practice. Right. He doesn't even have to worry about getting hard. She just goes in soft and then sucks so hard it goes from hard to bust instantaneously. It's just
like a reverse spaghetti.
Yeah, dude. It's just like your mom's spaghetti, dude. That's why Eminem had to disown his mom. Is she was blowing people that hard.
I mean, she got it on his sweater already.
Yeah, on his sweater already. Exactly. Could I bring Dan over this Christmas?
She looked at me in confusion.
Who? Dan, my best friend. He used to come over all the time.
Her face tightened in a look of saddened unknowing.
You seriously not remember him? Oi, lie off your mother.
My dad interjected, a bite to his voice like I'd just said something way out of line. I looked to my mom. I see him slamming his hand down on the table, super angry out of
Oi, lie off your mother.
I looked to my mum and saw her disposition become much lower. She looked down sadly and lifted another forkful of food to her mouth. Sucked it down without swallowing. Or without chewing. The room went silent. My parents never had the best memory, but they'd never been so openly sensitive about it. Or at least at that time, I'd never realized it when they were. I held my mum's hand on the table.
Sorry, I didn't mean to be rude. He was just that boy that would come over and hang out most weekends. We haven't seen each other in a couple of years, but it turns out he started living here again.
As I described him to her, my dad looked on in concern as she nodded her head.
Oh, yes, Dan, I remember.
There was a weakness in her voice that told me she was lying, but wanted the conversation to be over.
He can come around. You'll have to introduce me again after all this time.
I released her hand and looked down at my empty plate, and we didn't speak until dinner was over. After I put my plate in the sink, I said goodnight to my parents and started up the stairs.
Remember your bedtime, bud. It is a boy, by the way. This is definitely... Wait, I don't know, dude, bud. It's I went for a very gender-neutral voice for the protagonist here. And I'm
Maybe
so
this person's
confused.
gender neutral.
We'll see what we got.
It'll come out. It'll come out. My dad called from the kitchen.
I was hoping to stay up this evening. I've got work to get done, and I wanted to be out. I wanted to be out of the way so I can spend all of my time off tomorrow with you two.
I was met with a long pause. Within a few seconds, both my parents were at the bottom of the stairs, looking at me intently.
You got to go bed now.
His tone was stern. The usual humor and lightness in his voice was gone, replaced with something bordering on anger.
Come on. It'll just make it so I spend less time with you.
Then spend less time with us. You go to bed.
He's getting that fuck in tonight.
Yeah.
His voice was getting more desperate. I got more riled up in return. I hated being told not to do something I thought would be better for everyone.
What's the point in me coming home then? Listen to your father.
My mum quietly interjected.
But why? I'm old enough to stay up.
I want to point out that if you're shouting, I'm old enough to stay up,
Yeah.
you might not be old enough to stay up.
Might not be old enough.
My dad cut me off and banged the banister with his fist. There it is, dude.
Yeah.
I called it. Yeah. I knew the blood was boiling in this. I sensed the anger. Ever since he said, "Hey, bud," and punched the kid as soon as he walked in. My dad cut me off and banged the banister with his fist. He snapped at me with a vicious growl.
So help me God, you will go to bed or I will send you on a train back to uni this second.
We didn't do any favors for this married couple, saying that they were
No.
taking every second with eyes off of them.
Yeah,
to
dude, he just wants her to suck it
exploring
from the
one another.
back, bro. She wants
Yeah.
her to suck it from the back.
Oh,
And he is not going to deal with
Cleaning the pipes.
his child's shenanigans when he could be getting that gluck gluck right now.
His mom's got plumbing to do.
Mm-hmm.
In his eyes, I could see he wasn't just angry. He was scared. Scared that he wouldn't get the gluck gluck. His eyes were glassy, and he was breathing through clenched teeth like he was trying not to cry.
Oh, fucking fine.
I threw my hands up and went to my room. That night, I did my best to get to sleep, but ended up waking up around 11 p.m. I opened my eyes groggily and heard whispers coming from downstairs from my parents and someone else. My dad sounded angry.
Said you'd stop when he left home.
The voice that spoke in response rattled me. It sounded raspy and unnatural,
Bro,
like the person
This
speaking.
isn't the dad. I'll do it again.
No, the one that
Oh.
speaks in response. The one that speaks next. You're good. Like the person speaking was gargling nails. So you have to do that. Go get some nails.
Alas, he has returned, and so I must continue. You good there, Ben? Did I break you?
Dude, that was fucking awesome. I was not expecting like a lord. Alas, he has returned.
Alas, he has returned. I am the main villain from what was the game? Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, the little guy. His speech was archaic and formal. I walked out of my room and peered down the stairs, crouching next to them to try and conceal most of my body. The man, no, the thing standing in front of my parents was unnaturally tall and gaunt with bright pale skin. Its face was pitch black void that caved into its head, like a black hole that had subsumed the rest of its features. Between the skins surrounding the void were strands of pale flesh that were strung from end to end like a spider web that shifted and pulsed in kaleidoscopic patterns every time it spoke. It was completely hairless. Its legs bent forward like a horse's, and its arms were far too long. If standing with its arms at rest, it would have no problem touching the floor with its fingertips. It was wearing a dirty white dress shirt with the sleeves poorly rolled up, and black trousers that were torn at the bottom, revealing stained black boots that were flat where the toes should be. I didn't dare to speak. I was in complete terror, unable to reconcile what I was seeing. The worst part is, aside from my dad's anger and my mom's fear, they were talking to it almost casually.
Fine.
He turned to my mum.
While he is here, can we keep him going to bed on time, or maybe try to convince him to go back to uni until Christmas? How are we going to do that?
My mum was holding back her tears. Sorry, I'm so lost in this description of the thing.
We'll figure it out.
My dad softly said back before turning back to the creature.
Now get the fuck out of my house.
The creature twisted around, using its arms to leverage itself against the doorway. Its feet made a clip-clop sound as it moved, like hooves against concrete. It held the door handle between its index and thumb and opened the door. Before leaving, it turned around and spoke one more time.
I'd be careful with your language, Harvey. You've both been on your last warning for quite a while, and you've seen what I can take from you.
My mom began to cry as he finished speaking. My dad held her close and clenched his fist. I imagine, does he like wave it at the creature?
I feel like
Oh,
he's
it's just like at his side.
I think he's at his side, like he's uncomfortable.
okay.
Like he's
I thought he
uncomfortable
was,
because
like,
he's like afraid. He's showing
rueful.
like he's showing like power by telling him to leave, but he knows he can't do anything.
Okay. I watched from the top of the stairs as the creature cucked my dad. No, I'm sorry. Turned his head and crawled out into the cold night air, disappearing until it would visit again. The following day, I was sitting... No, fuck that, dude. You go downstairs immediately and go like, what the fuck was that faceless horse spider, man?
Dude, that
with
thing
the
probably
snazzy
gives
trousers.
a hell of a blowjob there.
That's what it's all for. That's why he wants him out of the house.
Yeah, dude.
It's the...
Dude, that thing probably... You just stick your whole, like, balls and all into his head, dude. And it just...
That's what his name is.
It's a Lovecraftian sucking fuck, bro. Let's go.
It's a Lovecraftian fleshlight.
Yeah.
Anyway, the following day, I was sitting at the breakfast table with my parents. I couldn't look at them. I was terrified. So many questions were spinning round and round in my head like a record baby, and I didn't know how to begin to answer any of them. I just sat quietly and ate my breakfast, giving one-syllable answers to any question that came my way about how I slept or what my plans were for that day. They knew something was wrong, but they didn't prod, most likely assuming I was still annoyed from the argument the night before. Once I had eaten my food, I went up to my room to study, but I couldn't keep my focus on my work. I had only one goal in mind, to find out what it wanted with me. Why? It wants you to leave the house.
No, I would want to know. You're telling me you wouldn't want to know? You want to be curious?
If it wants me to leave the house, I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I would, but here's the
Then,
thing.
once I got back to uni, then I would start Googling, probably. Or maybe like on the train ride or something.
Yeah.
But if it was like, just send him home, I'd be like, bet. And just
Bet-
throw my
just
stuff
dip.
away,
You're just letting your parents
I don't wanna
die
be
from
here.
this thing? They're on their life.
It seems like... But the thing is, it wants them to leave.
Yeah, so that it can fucking, like, molest his parents till death. And you just let your parents get molested to death. That's fine. I mean, I must have a much better relationship with my parents than you do. You're just like, oh,
Well,
cool. You know, we had
yeah.
even the bad memories. You still have good ones.
It's the Lovecraftian suck and fuck.
Yeah,
I think if anything, it's probably stealing my dad's soul
yeah. I mean,
and
but
breaking apart the marriage.
at the same time, you gotta cherish those memories. You can't just let your dad just get Cthulhu glucked until
Suck and
death.
fucked. Yeah. Gluck and tucked. Gluck and tucked. Okay. Alright, fine. So we have to figure out what's going on. That night I cleared out all of the videos on my phone, saving every bit of storage I had to record myself the entire night. I propped my phone up against the bookshelves in my room. I would not want to know what this thing was coming into my room and doing to me at night. This is such a weird episode. I propped my phone up against the bookshelves in my room with the camera facing the bed. I crawled in and checked my clock. 9:10 p.m. I had 20 minutes to fall asleep. I tossed and turned, shutting my eyes tight and trying every possible orientation for my body to be in, but I just couldn't manage to sleep. I was too scared to stop thinking, to let myself rest. Yeah, you think that this thing's gonna come stalking into your room while you're asleep. You're not going to just be able to be like, so let's see what happens.
Well, I guess it's night time.
Yeah, night, yeah. She brings in like some cocoa. And
Yeah.
you're just like, no, fall like immediately asleep. I tossed and turned, shutting my eyes tight. Oh wait. I ran to the bathroom and rifled through the cupboards. My parents were stocked up on sleeping pills and melatonin gummies.
Let's go.
Partiers, some partiers.
Now
man.
he's gone to sleep.
I opted for the latter. The melatonin gummies, they're weed gummies, I bet.
Nah, that
I opted for the latter.
crazy.
They're like, son, you didn't eat those. Down 2 of them. They tasted like synthetic grapes, their dusty texture uncomfortable on my tongue. I walked back to the bed and checked the clock. 9:22 p.m. This time, I rustled myself into the duvet and shut my eyes. I felt my body sink into the mattress, the weight of the duvet keeping me encased in a soft sensation that sent my unconsciousness slowly spiraling into silent darkness. Woo, that was alliterative. Within moments, I was asleep. It is here where I must consider how to set out describing the things that happened to me while I slept. Because truth be told, what I saw in the recording the following morning sickened me. Oh no.
Let's
Each
go.
attempt to describe it vaguely doesn't tell the full truth. Each attempt to describe it flatly makes me break down into tears. I'm trying my best. I'm sorry if I make little sense. What I saw in that video was that it entered my room. My parents stood in the doorway as it looked over me and clasped its hands around my torso. Oh man, slowly shifting me onto my back. I could hear the hard thuds of its hooves through its boots on the carpet as it lifted itself up and crawled like a spider on top of the bed, its spindly pale body hanging over mine. At this point, my mom turned into my dad's shoulder and clung to him. She couldn't bear to watch as the creature lowered its head to mine. It was difficult to see from behind, but the angle of the footage allowed me to glimpse strands of flesh from its face flick onto mine like pale elastic bands connecting it to me. Its body began to churn and writhe in place as a colorful fuzzy light glowed within the strands, and soon from its head. I could hear my own laughter, my own crying, my own speech. Thousands of emotions and words all muffled and turning inside the creature's head as I laid there unmoving. And the light and noise faded. And as it did, the creature detached itself with a quenched gasp for air before crawling off of me and standing up. It nodded to my parents and crawled out of my room, my parents parting to let it through. I clicked my phone off and sat down on my bed crying. How could they let that happen to me? All of these years, every argument, every time I slept, every single part of my routine as a child was shaped around this awful, disgusting creature. Immediately, I packed my bags, but before leaving, I decided to confront my parents. They were in the living room watching some soap opera. I walked in and looked at them with a quivering voice and red, tearful eyes. I asked,
What have you been letting into my room while I'm asleep?
The moment those words left my mouth, I saw them visibly tense up. My dad's expressions turned stern, while my mother's dropped into sadness.
I recorded myself sleeping last night. I saw the thing you were talking about at the door. I saw it climb on top of me.
Sorry, tears began to flow down my cheeks.
What have you been letting it do to me? Son, we have to let it in.
My dad's voice trembled. He had been caught, and he was afraid.
Why?
His voice dropped to a whisper. He quietly responded back.
Oh, that was I was supposed to say the why. Well, fine. It's fine.
No, I like that he went all demon mode. He was like, why, Dad?
Because if we don't, it takes from us.
As he finished his sentence, my mother's hand clung to my father's.
It took something from your mom a lot long ago. Believe me, it'll take more if we say no.
I felt hot and angry.
What does it take? What does it do to me? Memories. It feeds on memories and dreams.
My father began to cry. I'm not crying, I'm really sick. It's an odd feeling seeing your father cry. As a child, it's earth-shattering, but as you grow up, it simply feels strange. Like something you're never supposed to see. My feelings settled and my mind focused on the strain in his voice, and the tears rolling down his cheeks.
I'm so sorry, son. I told it no. I tried to tell it to leave so many years ago. But when I shut the door, it found its own way inside, and it punished us. It punished your mother. You've just been letting it in to steal my dreams. I felt so fucking numb and aimless for years, and you've just let it happen? Why don't you just give me up for adoption, or send me away? Anything but let it take my life away. You're talking about giving up, oh baby boy, like it's easy. We couldn't bear the thought of letting you go. But you could bear everything else? What the fuck is wrong with you?
My voice was hoarse and choked with tears.
After tonight, you're never gonna see me again, ever. No, son, please.
My mom called out to me.
We did this for you. Bullshit. You did this for yourselves.
I stormed out of the room, grabbing my things and walking out the door. After that day, I stayed true to my word. I never saw them again. Once school ended, I stayed with friends and relatives, doing my best to avoid going back home. A few years after I left, my mom died of Alzheimer's, followed soon by my father. I didn't attend either funeral.
Ugh.
Now I live in London with my wife and daughter. It took me a while to find my place in life, but now I've found it. My daughter's only a couple of years old, so a lot of my time is spent at home taking good care of her while my wife is at work. Based. She is the light of my life, and I can't wait to see what she becomes. I never want to stop loving her. But, dear reader, I think I have to. I'm writing this at 9:30 p.m. There is a cold draft coming through the front door, and I can feel a twisting knife of dread burying itself deep inside my chest. There's a knock at the door, and I can hear the clacking of hooves against the pavement.
Gas pack king. That's the first like comment here was get the hell out of there. And this, I'm not sure what that means, but thank you. This is crazy. This is good, dude. This is really
I really like that story. That was cool.
I really like it. I don't think it lands as hard as what was the other Alzheimer one we read?
Shattered Life.
The Shattered Life or whatever.
No, dude, the Shattered Life was crazy.
It was crazy, but this was really, really good. I really liked the writing. It was simple, but got to the point. It was, I don't know. I had a lot of fun with this one. This is,
I liked it.
It's a banger. I like the creature being like, creature, like that I haven't seen before. It's way out there. We don't get a lot of creature features.
No, not really.
We don't get a ton of creature features, and I'm happy whenever we come to one. And at least the creature was really cool. So, a lot of wins here.
I liked his little pants.
Yeah,
exactly. He had little
exactly.
pants and boots on.
Yeah,
so...
dude. It was so imaginative that I can't help but have just way too much love for this story. I'm fully obsessed with it. But well, the next one we're reading is Greyhound Bus Boys. This is by Lowman. We are like I said, we're going through all of the sub, so we're trying to get like people that we haven't gotten to, and then people we have. And Lowman posts so much that there's going to be a lot of Lowman story or Lowman episodes. But I also like just throwing some of Lowman's shorter stuff in with some of the new stories as well. But this one has an NSFW thing, so content warning, pussies. And
yeah, Lowman, so you know it.
Yeah, it could be really brutal or just I don't know with Lowman. It could be the most brutal thing I've ever read or just a little out there. So we never really know. But with that,
I think this is going to be about boys who turn into buses.
Wow, that's a wild guess. I think it's going to be about gay orgies at bus stations. I think that's a fair direction to pull it. Is if you're going to say boys that turn into buses, I'm going to go with the other Reddit favorite, and that's making everything sexual, because they just love to do that. They love to make us as uncomfortable as possible. In terms of every story I think I've ever read on Reddit, it's like, let's just make everybody feel as uncomfortable as possible, so I'm ready to get down with that. Without further ado, the Greyhound Bus Boys. Ben,
how do you like him? 1 lump or 2? He drove by the desperate, pathetic place that was his spiderweb. The cops never hung around here. These places, bus depots. Not in any of the cities he'd lived in over the years, and he'd been all over. All over. His jeans tightened. He loved the feeling as he drove. His mind all aflame with images, some fantasy, some memory. All of it a consuming inferno, madness that lived bulbous and rising in the back of his throat. Back of the throat, my favorite place to be. Slowly he drove, circling the granite place like a shark would a wounded school of prey. So many desperate fish swam up this stream. It was a good place to grab a catch, snatch. He smiled, his head filled with lurid images. His father sucking his cock, crying. Batman bending the boy wonder over the hood of their Batmobile. Adam slaying Eve in her sleep so that he and God and the serpent might have the fun they always really wanted. Her fresh corpse histories, first flesh and fuck doll for the dawning of the 3. His crotch bulged against tight denim. He loved the squeeze.
Jesus.
Tightening ropes joined the other filthy lurid frames in his mind. A ropey river. Red. He swam. I'm sorry, what were you saying now?
This is so
I had to get
crazy.
through that.
Yeah, this is so crazy. His crotch bulged against his tight denims. He loved the squeeze. Tightening ropes joined the other filthy lurid frames in his mind. A ropey river, red he swam. This is diabolical already. And I was making a joke about this being about like gay bus stop stuff, but this is more than this is going to be exactly what I said, and I'm a little disturbed by my joke becoming a reality because I did not.
He swam in it always. He would never leave. shaded gaze spied all around the lonely, sad, great bus stop. One big old bitch was pulling out, and another big old fucking bitch was rolling on in. He wondered how many inside gazed back. He wondered how many inside might be like him. He'd met fellow wolves amongst the sea of lost boys and fruit pickers. None that were better than he, though. He'd been faster at the jaws, clamping shut sooner, tighter, faster, Venus fly. He watched the stream of desperate, sad things file out of the bus like inmates heading in to serve a sentence. He studied at a distance. Which one? Bitches or twerps? It made no difference. He liked them both. Lots. Boys were just more abundant, more likely to be alone. He smiled. To reminisce, one of his favorite drugs, pulpy, loaded with color. He paved a lot of the road that composed his degenerate career with veritable truckloads of sad sack boy pussy. Desperate little cunts just trying to run. Just trying so hard to find a place to be. It was like the stuff they wrote songs and movies about. And here he was, a renegade part in all of it. A deadly predator, components swimming beneath the surface of the machine. His grin grew teeth. He decided. That one. Short one. Not much muscle. Little...
Jesus. You know what's great? You know what's great about this? Like, I want to say this right now. A lot of times when they write stuff like this, they write it from the perspective of the victim, right? And they either make the guy like obviously the monster in the shadows, right? Which is good, like obviously. But then when you ever do get where it's like the serial killer or the monster or whatever, and they write it from the perspective of them, they try to humanize him. And I wrote some crappy stories for the sub where I tried to make the serial killer like this douchey monster of a person. And I like that here there's not a single thing this bastard has said that makes me want to like him. You know what I mean?
True.
It's perfect character work. And I think a lot of people would get down there like, I can't, like, it's not flowery. And that's what makes this guy perfect as a character piece.
Yeah. Yeah, this is how I want my truck stop serial killer to sound.
Yes. This is the internal thoughts of Wayne Gacy, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Alright, back to it. Little emo twink boy in the black Under Oath t-shirt with only a backpack slung over his shoulder. Probably his entire world in there. He would be Apocalypse to the child's world. His tiny little planet. Puny, pathetic thing. He would drown the whole of his existence in blood and cum and sweat and dreams. Screams. He put the truck back into gear and slowly pressed the accelerator.
You looking for work?
The kid nearly leapt, wheeling on his heels. A stupid look of shock all about his face. Pale face.
Yeah, I skipped your shit. My bad.
No, you're fine. Green, lamb, easy, ripe, perfect.
What?
Work? You looking for work? I was just driving by and I saw you get off the bus. I run a record store in town, music stop. A lot of old vinyl and shit, but sometimes some instruments too. You play?
The boy Prey shook his head. No.
Ah, you look like you would. If you're heading into town, I can give you a lift. I don't mind heading that way anyway. Not a big deal.
There was apprehension, of course. There always was. In their faces. But this lamb was green. Dumb. Besides, the man who may or may not own a record store wasn't a nasty, greasy pig or sickly, thin Nosferatu. He was a tan, broad-shouldered, handsome-faced, pool hall cowboy type in his mid-30s. The type of guy that always looked like the hero in a Hollywood movie. The type of guy with a face you couldn't help but trust. The kid shrugged after a few awkward beats.
Yeah, sure.
And got in. A ride into town talking about work they both agreed he needed turned into a quick bite to eat at the diner. No worries, my treat. A bite to eat turned into a couple drinks at the bar. But I ain't 21. Don't worry, I know everyone in town. The owner loves me. A couple drinks turned into more than a few. At the end of the night, he was hauling Under Oath's drunken weight to and from his truck, till finally they came back to his place.
Under Oath? You sure you don't play? Sure fucking party and drink like a fucking rock star.
He dropped the drunk child on the sofa that smelled of wine and tears, and something fainter, as if trying to hide, metallic. The man of the house in town went to a small chest by the television set. He flipped on the boob tube and retrieved something from inside the chest. He returned to the sofa. sitting beside the runaway kid whose head was in a terrible swim, face in a drunken slack, imbecilic and devoid of any real thought. He held up one of the several translucent baggies.
You really want to party under oath? Let's fucking get down.
They smoked Christ, weed, took some Molly, a couple of shrooms, all while watching Beavis and Butthead, music videos and B-movies with rubber monsters, and buxom babes, knocking back brews one after the other.
Hey, thirsty? Need another? Me too. Brews, though. I'm gonna make a bourbon tea. You want one? Make 'em strong, and I'll make 'em sweet.
He went to the kitchen, under oath, a zombie on the sofa, drugged out, his mind on the television. The handsome cowboy man of the darkening place went around making the drinks. Ice, bourbon, tea brewed just the other day, poured over. But before all of that, he started with the sugar cubes. Unusual, sure, but important to his process. They were glucose cubic chunks of his own making, his own recipe, loaded with aphrodisiac, a base hallucinogenic byproduct of his own backyard chemistry that smelled like engine coolant and a mild tranquilizer. He paused, steel tongs in hand.
How'd you like 'em? One lump or two?
He knew how he took them. He loved to give them more than a few little lumps. Under oath said nothing, just continued his somnambulist stare at the TV. The handsome cowboy laughed, finished making the drinks. It was all so fucking hilarious.
Brutal. Jesus
Dude,
Christ.
The stories are like, dude, every time there's like this tension like hanging like in the virtual space between where me and you are in our separate cells. Like,
Dude, the amount of tension he puts into a story makes me so uncomfortable every single time. I mean,
when they're done, we just both just go like, "Ah!"
Yeah, dude, it's just so
like shake it off.
Yeah, it's like you need a shower out. Like, not all of his stories, because like the World War I one wasn't like that. It was
right.
It was like dark and gritty.
There was still a lot of tension and
there was
stuff
still a
like
lot
that
of tension
in it,
and stuff.
Yeah.
But the ones that he puts NSFW on, bro, it's like you need a shower after you're done reading that. That wasn't even that long, but dear God, bro. I think we've read 4 of his stories now, right? And we have one more to gear up. But before we read this one, I think my favorite by far is the Stormtrooper and Abomination. I just think that story is just so beautiful. And then we've probably read more than just 4. I feel like we've.
I think we definitely have.
Yeah, but I mean, like the 4 most memorable.
Sure.
The 4 most memorable. I'm gonna put this one as a very memorable one because this one hit me really hard. He wrote one that was kind of like a scene cutout that it felt like, and it just wasn't. It didn't land as much as the others, and I can't remember that one. That one's gonna be last. But then I would definitely go Lamau Pig, and then I'd go Lamau Pig. Is actually after that last story. I like Lamau Pig, but the ending jumps the shark, and then the hunting, the disgusting warn your neighbors people. We can't say the word or YouTube gets really mad at us. But, But the one that likes to sniff children, that one, and the only reason that story didn't land better is because 1, the ending's ridiculous. 2, there was so much extra steps in that story that were just way too crazy for me to buy. Like, it was just too much. But, like, they were all good in and of themselves, but I think that there's just something, like, really cool about the Abomination. I think this last story we read had the uncomfort of those other 2 stories without getting as brutal as those other 2 stories got.
It's weird that it didn't, like, need to.
Yeah.
It's weird because we saw like in Lin Mao Pig and stuff like that, and like his cruel pictures are like straight up gore porn.
Yep.
Like type stories. They're just so hardcore, just gore, like snuff stories basically. This one was the preamble.
Yep, it was the build up,
and that makes it like worse in a way. The cruising for the victim with all of the inner monologuing was so rough, dude.
And the brilliance of putting the 1 lumps or 2 at the beginning and end was so good, because when he says it, you know what's coming. And I think it was also like, I was just picturing like the Wayne Gacy show, and there's a part where he has somebody in the house and he just strips naked and he's just standing there in the corner of the room, and you're just like, it doesn't show you what he does to the people, but you know what's going to happen. Which makes it so much worse.
Yeah, this is even more so than like Gacy because of like the setting and stuff like that. I think Dean Coral,
Yeah, very
which is
Dean
like
Coral.
this is like worse almost in a
Yeah.
way, but like
You know, that's the thing. You can picture any one of these scumbags, and you're in that, and that's why it's part of the first half being from his perspective, making him the monster he is. I think made the second half, that's third person, land so much harder because you know that this guy's a disgusting piece of trash.
that was an 8 out of 10 for me, man.
Yeah, dude,
maybe even a
super
9
good.
out of 10.
Yeah, I'm in the same place. I think it began and ended perfectly, and it just sits as this wild character piece on a disgusting serial killer. We have one more story by him called Walpurgis. Walpurgis. It's a weird one. And this is the shortest of the stories we're going to read today. But I'm again, dude, you never know what you're getting in with a low man. So hey, this might be fire, or it might be. I mean, all of them are good, but it might be one of the more forgettable ones too. We don't know yet. I'm excited to jump in.
I miss Ruby. Hold on 1 second.
Cats, dude. Ben and his cats this episode. He just has like a constant ebb and flow of the meow meow fuzzy faces.
Miss Ruby. She hates being picked up. I sold her.
Him and his cats, dude. I got two that when I cut this video so that both of our bodies fit into the thing, you never can see my cats, but I have two.
That's sad.
Well, it is what it is.
I love. Dude, the cat is always chilling on the stream too, like just right behind.
Yeah,
Jeff.
no, she's literally right
these
over my
ones,
shoulder always.
What happened was I have 3. One of them hates the other 2, and the other 2 hate that one. He was in here chilling when the other 2 broke in earlier, and they just want to be in the recording because they like being part of the process. But when they saw him, it got all weird, so I had to just move all of them out, and now just the 2 that want to be in here are in here.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Good ebb and flow of
Home
cats.
gives a shit about that, but anyway, if you want to know about the cat action. All right, anyway, here we go. Walpurgis by Lowman. The church was in ruins on the hill behind them. They were in its burning shadow at the base, gathered, robed, hooded. They were chanting around a mass of burning things, some of them still struggling to move. They were chanting his name. Around the bonfire, screaming in the night, they were singing his black title. The end was birthing like a child, and they were here to deliver him unto the unknowing world as its ultimate predator, its great blood practitioner, drinker, feaster, diviner of flesh and lust and sweat, eater of worlds. I'd worship this. All of the glorious runoff from his overwhelming, overflowing power that would drown out the world would be theirs. Spillage and spoils to lap up from the desecrated earth like the loyal, faithful mongrels that they truly were and knew and loved themselves to be. The Coven of Rats' blood screamed. Forgotten words that should have stayed buried with the terrible thing they were now trying to pull up from the foulest womb. Gibbering babble, tongue that rose like demented and imbecilic song into the darkest curtain of night above that slumbering world had never ignored. That the slumbering world had never ignored. Damn, I thought I did. I'm just gonna do it again. Gibbering, bauble tongue that rose like demented and imbecilic song into the darkest curtain of night above that the slumbering world had ever ignored.
God, this is one of the more flowery stories. He does this sometimes. Motherfucker will just.
But I just get to go like straight, like I'm just narrating a Twilight Zone.
Yeah,
like I'm just narrating like a gothic film.
Yeah, dude. I can't. This the other one he did that was like shorter, that was just like a scene cutout, was like this too, where it was just like really poetic out of nowhere.
Oh, this is cool actually. Like the other things that we do are like horror, like story podcasts, but this is just me doing like straight up like horror radio.
Yeah.
Like, it's time for the dark hour. The Coven of... All right, here we go. Something on the other side heard, and the bonfire rose in a sour belch. The Coven of Rats' blood. Drooling mouths still slobbering crimson and black-green rodent meat. Ew. Rose in open-throated discordant cry together. In holy unison as the inn birthed and silhouetted amongst the raging flames of the bonfire stepped up and out upon them anew.
It's so good, dude. It's so good. The Coven of Rats' blood, drooling mouths, still slobbering crimson and black-green rodent meat. It's crazy. It is crazy over the top and flowery.
It's just all flavor text.
Yeah, this is just all flavor text, but I love it.
The end smiled, and they sang and praised his name. Later they would begin, but first they feasted together in the dark. More rats, raw. He loved them. There were still some of the flock from the wreckage and ruin of God's house above amongst them. It took pleasures from them too. Then the coven and the end put them to the fire as well, and cooked and ate them too. Later they would begin. It would be the same everywhere they went. More dead rats' blood, more dead rats' meat. The burning of the flock and their gathering places, their temples and the places they hold sacred. The sanctified holy grounds where they kept the putrid meat of their precious dead. They would necrophile these things.
Ugh.
What the fuck? Sour and desecrated.
Yeah,
man,
pub
right?
in England,
Throw
bro.
that shit in there.
It must
What?
be at the bottom. It must be in that pub in England with the gremlins, bro. In the necrophile.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, dude, it's full circle. Full circle.
I think this is just London.
Yeah, this is just London.
Like, okay, yeah. They would sour and desecrate the earth in blood. Everywhere they would go, it would be the same. The bonfire had burned down to red embers, the bodies within red ashes. They filled their precious casks with wine and more rat's blood, and went on their way with the end finally birthed, and here and leading them to the final battle and finale of the sun and the heavens and mankind's precious day, waging war and burning and fucking and turning the road that was the world to abattoir along the way. The end.
That's crazy. I know it's a cult that's summoning some creature.
I
Beast,
think
but it is.
I have a theory that Lowman is super into Trench Crusade. I think I've brought this up before.
Yeah.
I think it's a tabletop war game where it's like things like this, like these are just legions of like abominations and zombies and cannibals and stuff like that are duking it out in like an eternal apocalypse on the face of the earth. I feel, well, I mean, honestly, all that shit's just really in heavy, like black metal inspired too.
Yeah, no,
But
and I'd agree with this.
I'm a big fan.
This one actually got a comment, like, other than when I'm putting my random comments in there, that, like, where I just skim and then post something to like, appreciate people that are post on a thing. By the way, post on our sub. We try to prioritize new writers on the podcast. But I like the Bert Cat Reads, or we'll put, he's like, I like the name. Funny twist that they're summoning evil, the whole rebirth vibes with the spirit, with the spring, but it's given birth to a rotten monster that ends the world. It was really cool. I like that kind of thing a lot. Them defining a ceremony named for a saint missionary guy parallels well with their corruption of the sacred holy land. The end has come. Great story. I do think that this is like a cool like summoning the end all Cthulhu monster or whatever. Not Cthulhu, but Lovecraftian monster, or just the Antichrist. I think it's a good setup for that. You don't really need to know what happens next. The world turns into ash and it's all dead. Like this brings the end times type story, but it is very much like something you would read at the beginning of a Dark Souls game.
Yeah, or like this is the type of thing that I would put into like Merkborg, like another like super hyper grim dark tabletop RPG and stuff like that. Like this was an absolute enemy from that type of thing, or one of those games or movies or whatever. We don't have enough grimdark movies, I've noticed.
No,
there are like none actually, besides maybe Hard to Be a God, but
and you think about like even like I was noticing this with horror. It's a lot of suspense horror now. It's like either it's like It or The Conjuring or something, where it's like in your face, or it's suspense horror. I feel like the days of like the like slasher's still around, I guess, kind of, with Scream. They keep pumping those out like crazy. But
I don't count that.
But it's not like I feel like we've lost a lot of the variety in horror that we used to have. To right now, it's the popular, like almost everything feels like a long process.
Yeah, I don't like that everything's like a cursed object now.
Yeah,
It's just very Stephen King, and
that or it's like the
thing.
longest. It almost feels like they're trying to make everything feel, even if it's not a found footage, it's trying to make things feel like the found footage, like that eerie tension. They build that eerie tension till the end payoff, which is
a blasphemy too, because I love found footage movies of all stripes, not just horror, but like all sorts of different things. And it sucks that they've like commercialized it so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of goes into the thing, which is, as much as I love what is the analog horror and stuff, but I feel like a lot of that has influenced modern horror, where it's very, very slow paced and less into the abstract. We've moved away from the full far abstract where it's like these, away from like the John Carpenter-ness, if that makes sense. Like what was the movie where it was like the underworld of all the monsters, and like They Live and stuff like that is so abstract compared to what we get now, because a lot of things we get now is either like long drawn out suspenseful horror, like something like an analog horror or a
It's I know exactly what the fuck you're talking about, dude. It's like an analog horror, like what
Yeah.
you're saying. It's almost like mascot horror for everything, even if it's not exactly mascot. I get what you're getting at.
yeah. I felt like
It's like a
the 70s and the 80s for horror were like really, because they were coming off of like the weird gore flicks of like the 60s and 50s that were like shunned by everybody. They were figuring out how it felt like in the 80s and 70s they were trying to incorporate how to make that palatable for a bigger audience, and so we were getting a lot of crazy things like Alien, and you could go from Alien to
The
the
Thing.
Blob to The Thing to They Live. It was all over the place, and I felt like the 90s went more with the slasher direction that was birthed out of that era.
last summer, stuff like that.
And then the 2000s went into like a gore era, and it just like slowly was like, okay, we're not doing gore anymore, or we're not doing any of that other stuff, and we're just gonna go with everything being like a suspense thought piece.
That's because Saw monopolized gore and overdid
Overdid it so hard, so bad. But no, this is fun. This was fun. I do love the flowery low man stories. They're not as hard hitting as for me as the other ones, but I think just the uncomfort in those other ones really get to me. They really.
I have
really
fun
get to me.
facts.
What?
I have fun trivia, I think, about this story, because I was looking at Walpurgis Night, because I was like, kind of, the person said in the comment that this was like a rebirth vibes that spring, but it's given birth to a rotten monster that end the world, defiling a ceremony named for a saint missionary guy parallels well with their corruption and sacred of holy land. That's exactly what they're doing, because in some of the earliest Walpurgis rituals, they would have witch burning, like effigy type things.
Oh, okay.
Where they would put up these big, like, evil statues and set fire to them for God and stuff like that. So
Okay.
it's kind of cool that the Coven of the Rats is coming back, and they're like taking all of the symbols and the people from the churches and burning them for their Walpurgis ritual. And then I had a question for you. Do you think that the Coven of Rats' blood will be successful?
Well, no, it
Now that
was.
they've birthed the end?
They burned.
Well, I don't know, man. I think that's a... Oh, you think because they brought the end that's...
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, all right. I think that he just calls himself that.
I mean, they said that they're turning the road that was the world to an abattoir along the way, and
I think that's their goal, but I don't know if that...
I thought that's what they did, and it's just kind of like turning everything into livestock for them, for this creature
Yeah, I
that has
guess.
been birthed. I think the story is about the birth
A little more
of this
objective.
creature,
Okay, all
and
right,
their
fine,
whole
fine.
duty in life now is to provide substance for this creature until the world is over.
I was of two minds of it, because I thought that was more of like their mission statement at the end. Like they were like, we got the end birth, now it's time to go turn the world into the abattoir and burn Jesus or whatever. But I was thinking, because I was like, man, you could get a lot of people to like worship this, like a lot of like just anti-religious people and stuff like that, and there's more rats than like humans.
Yeah.
So if they need rats' blood and meat and stuff like that to fuel their rituals, then like they're good. They're pretty much but they also worship rats. So I don't know.
I don't know if they worship the rats. I think they just use the rats as like a source of.
Oh, the rat's blood, the Coven of Rat's blood. Yeah, and they worship the end.
I think they worship the deity, and they got the deity, so now it's time to feed it people.
Just fun to think about.
No, it's definitely a thought. That stuff like this, these short polls like this that are flowery like that. He always leaves it to where it has an end, so it doesn't feel just like, because halfway through I'm like, oh, is this just gonna be like a cool scene of this summoning? But actually, it just leaves you with the thought of what's their next move, and like you can all build all that. You don't need him to tell you, and you can think about what it was, and it's just this grand scope. And it does feel very Lovecraftian in that, because Lovecraft was like big on writing these short, kind of punchy things that left people to their own devices and creating more from it.
Yeah, but they were like these like short little tidbits that had these like grand cosmic
Yeah.
scope things to them and stuff, which I like.
Yeah, yeah, and this kind of does the same thing, but just like more condensed into the world we live in.
All right, man. Well, that's
That's
all of the stories.
That was
We
all the
cleared them out.
stories. This was fun. I enjoyed. I think we had a really good variety to this episode. I think this episode like really hit. We got the creature feature, we got the creep, we got the celestial. I mean, we got the celestial creature, but that one's kind of celestial too. I was gonna say we got the like Lovecraftian cult story, but that first one kind of had the Lovecraftian vibe too. But it's still a creature feature. I think it's
That was a lot more personal, though. That
Yeah.
one was more like, I don't know. There was a lot that could be said about that first
Yeah,
story.
that first really good.
We skipped a lot of analysis to that.
Yeah, we
about,
skipped a
like,
lot of analysis for that
why
one.
would your
but
parents let you?
It's
Never
just
mind.
so good. It's just so good that I didn't really know what to say. You know, it was one of
Right.
those that I was like, it just sits as a perfect piece.
And we leave that for you, the
Yeah,
audience.
that's what you guys are supposed to do in the comments below. It's just like, we
Yeah.
read it. You guys figure this shit out. Have fun with it. I mean, nobody needs to tell you what the art says. You got to figure that out on your own. So
I know that at least one creative writing dropout is watching this. So
Yeah.
I know you're just chomping at the bit to get in there and
yeah,
analyze
then
probably.
what you should
but
do is create a story for our subreddit so we have more to read. Always
That too.
Pound that subreddit like your uncle pounded your bussy, bro. Let's go.
yeah, okay. At the truck stop.
But all right, I think that's all we got for you guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, and until
All right,
next
yep.
time, stop gooning in the closet.
I gotta get to the truck stop.